Hi, I'm Nick Macaluso, the SewBro. I'm a clothing designer, and I work for some of the local and touring theater performances in my area. We're going to talk a lot about sewing, the basics, and the finer points. We're going to talk a lot about theater and custom design. But for now, let's start with a tour of my workspace. We'll start the tour with these curtains that I made for the sewing area last night. You'll see why we went with the pineapples in a minute. I think it's a really fun pattern. This is the bookcase where I keep a lot of my important sewing stuff. This sewing box is where I keep my thread at. These typical spools you've probably seen. These hold a lot more thread. Now, they're more for quilting machines, sergers, embroidery machines, that sort of thing. But I've used them on my sewing machine, and as you can see, it does nothing to dampen the integrity of the garment that you make with it, so you might as well use it. Right here is where I keep preloaded bobbins. These come in handy when you just want to switch out the color of thread that you're using, and you don't have to actually unload and reload your bobbin. These are pearl snaps. I've always loved pearl snap shirts, and now I've got the pliers to put these on with. So that's a lot of fun. I'll show you the pliers in a minute. Right here, I've got some pretty regular pins. They've got that big plastic head on them so that if you drop one in the carpet or on the floor or whatever, you can find it easily. You're not going to leave them in a garment that you're working on. This is a pretty standard travel sewing kit. There's a lot of needles. Pretty much any thread color you can imagine doing a quick repair with. This is a pretty cool hack that I've learned over the years. They're the standard hair clips that you can get at any gas station, drugstore, whatever. You can clip them onto the fabric that you're using to hold it together. And then as you sew it, you can pull them straight off. There's no holes left in your fabric at all. They're perfect for it. If you like using regular pins, go ahead and use regular pins. But if you have some of those barrettes handy and you want to try it out, try it out. This is where I keep a lot of extra regular sewing pins, safety pins in here. I've got some regular, some smaller hair clips that I use. These clamps that I use to hold my measuring board in place. Down here are hand sewing needles, as many machine needles as I could ever possibly switch out to. And then on this shelf I also have my reference books. So if I get stuck on a project and I need to check out somewhere that I got stalled, I can look into my reference books. And this pattern book here, I really want to show you about. I've done a lot of crazy stuff with this. This is called the Let-A-Low system. It's for drafting your own patterns. These are the tools that you'll use to draft them with. But essentially, you look through and you find a pattern that you like, and you stop on it. On the back, it will give you the instructions on how to draft your own pattern for that garment. And you can match the top to one thing with the bottom for another garment. And because this is an old book that I got from my grandmother, it's all vintage patterns. It's all vintage clothes. So this has been a lot of fun to work with. I've really, really enjoyed it. Under the table is where I keep all my fabric and supplies. I've got milk crates that I've zip tied together so that I can keep different types of fabric separated. These are the stretchy lycra spandex. Down here I've got sheer fabrics. I have different patterns that I can use for different projects. Over here I've got the remnants from the pineapple fabric that we used. And I'll show you why we use that. We have this photo backdrop of some surfboards that we're using. I feel like that gives us a nice touch. Feels like a bay window in my project area. I really like this. I like looking at it. Right here we have my record cabinet. I love to listen to music and things while I'm working, so I have my record cabinet right here. This is my record collection over by the fireplace. This is where I keep everything sorted out. I got a variety of stuff. I really love Sam Cooke. I really love old comedy records, and that's a lot of what I listen to while I'm working. Under the record cabinet, I've got some drawers. This is where I keep my supplies and stuff. The pliers I told you about for putting the snaps on. I love these fabric scissors. They help with the lifting the fabric so that you can cut at a flat surface without pulling the fabric flat. This is for making bias tape. If you want a border made of the same fabric you've been working with, this little gadget is indispensable. So this is the area that I work in. This is what I work with, and I'm looking forward to being with you the next couple of years.